Welcome to Don't Fear the Weight podcast with your host Vicky Mirceta, bringing together science and personal experience.
Afternoon, guys, or good morning, depending on what time you are listening, watching, or focusing on this particular podcast. But thank you very, very much for tuning in. As you can see, we are side by side today. How amazing is this? Yeah. Oosh. Have I got bigger guns? I think I have bigger guns. No. Any whoozle. Right, welcome to the exclusive Titan Tit-bits on another episode of Don't Fear the Weight. I am your host, as always, the Tiny Titan, and this is the other half of the Tiny Titan. Look, I can scratch his chin. It is the exclusive Titan himself, the exclusive PT, Mr. Luke Andrews. Luke.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning.
That was a quick day, wasn't it?
It's amazing.
So as you can see, we are side by side. I am in the spinny chair of knowledge because I have got all of the knowledge bombs today.
So for once, you won't be speaking out your ass.
No, exactly. We don't know though yet. You know, we may have to just put that down to see what's going to happen. Anyway, we've had a load of questions in, but one of the biggest ones that we are going to have a little bit of a discussion about today is on relationships. Not about the coach-client relationship, but actually about how your fitness journey or fitness passion affects your actual relationship and marital relationship. So does your wife or husband or significant other have to be into fitness, for example, for everything to work swimmingly, for you to go through a successful prep, for you to get into a meet well, for you to make weight, that kind of thing? Because obviously myself and Luke are very, very passionate. Not really, well, I don't know. Are you obsessed? Are you obsessed with all things powerlifting and strength?
I think if you spoke to my wife, she probably would say yes.
Yeah, okay. I can say that you're obsessed with that one. And okay, let's just take it then from you. So tell us a little bit about Kim and how amazingly awesome she is. And I'm not just saying that to blow smoke. Kim is actually
she's a good girl. I think we should just prefix this that what we say is our own opinion.
Of course, yes.
And do not take this as completely read.
No.
And start questioning your other half about your commitments and your passions and whether they share the same passions, etc., etc. This is purely a podcast, and this is me and Vicky having a bit of a shizzle. All right.
Indeed.
So, what was the initial question?
Tell us a little bit about Kim, what she does for a living, and the fact that obviously she's not as obsessed.
No, I mean, Kim's a great girl. Let's just put that out there again, because she is. I love her, and she's completely not in the fitness industry. She was originally an art teacher, and now she's actually in the building industry as a very good quantities of project manager. And she's never really been into fitness as such. She's enjoyed a walk. She's done sort of Duke of Edinburgh, all that stuff, and so she's been more outside, outdoorsy. But she actually used to quite not detest gyms, but really think, what's the point of them? Why shouldn't you just exercise outside? Which I get.
For sure.
It was only until recently that she started getting a bit of a bug for weight training, because she wanted to lose a little bit of baby weight and just feel a bit fitter and feel better about herself. And now she's starting to understand a little bit more about sort of where I've been coming from for the last 23 years. But so it wasn't one of those that, oh, I'm in fitness, you're in fitness, let's go out. It was, our relationship stemmed from something different, sort of mutual interest regarding how we would see ourselves in 10 years, where we would our business aspirations, our sort of morals, our ethics. That's what our baseline was, and the ability to communicate has been really, really good. And I think that's one of the key things we should sort of highlight potentially, is the fact that, you know, they sometimes will never understand how much you have to do to achieve, because even though she's worked hard and her industry to get where she's got to, I will never understand that. So sometimes they will never understand how hard prep is, or how hard you have to train, or the rest that you have to take, or the set meals you have to. I mean, for powerlifting, there's a little bit of that, but I mean, for bodybuilding prep,
completely different.
It's another level, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, even if we look at it from a powerlifting side of things, though, as well, trying to make weight. Like if you need to make weight and you've just been a little bit more, shall I say, flimsy in the off season. No names mentioned. But no, I mean, let's face it, a lot of people do. A lot of people just kind of think, well, do you know what? I'm not going to compete for a while. I want to let my weight just kind of gradually kind of go up. Maybe I don't give a shit about the weight class that I'm going to be in. So I am just going to have a couple more takeaways. I'm going to enjoy the experiences. I'm going to create the memories a little bit more when I have the chance. And then all of a sudden, 6 weeks away, and it's like, oh, holy shit, I'm a little bit heavier than I thought I should have been.
Yeah.
And I need to make weight. Now, making weight, especially if you're on the smaller end of the category, it's like if you're 90 and you need to get down to like the 83s, it's pretty easy because you've got a lot of extra weight to lose. So if you have additional negative weight to lose, it can come off very quickly. But if you are a small, tiny person like me, for example, and if I need to lose, say, 4% of my body weight, that's a hard slog.
Well, 2 kilos for you is basically like 1 or 0.75 kilos for me, sort of ratio wise, isn't it? So.
Exactly. So, and as you can tell, there's going to be a bit of a harder slog. So having set meals is going to be extremely easy to do in order to achieve it, because all you're going to do is like, well, I'll just take out the avocado, for example, take out 50 grams of avocado, boom, 100 calories gone straight away. Not really that much trouble. And you're not going to miss 50 grams of avocado, especially when you've got to scoop it out and put the other half in the fridge.
I was actually quite glad you took that.
I know, right? Pain in the ass. Proper pain in the ass. Bring back feta cheese any day. So it is kind of that thing. But if you've got to have set meals and you've got to watch your sodium intake and various other things like that, you can't go out to Nando's. You can't just be a little bit more flexible because it is a weight making category. It's a weight making class. Now, when it comes to bodybuilding, and everything has got to be realistically timed to perfection. Especially to when you're in the later stages of prep and you get really low and you're tired and everything like that. Speaking from my own perspective, in the last 4 to 5 weeks of prep, this one that came around like in 2017 wasn't as bad because Scott kind of knew what to expect anyway at that point. Yeah. Whereas like the very first one, when I was dragging my ass through those last 4 weeks, that was hard. Because I was up every morning. I was out of the house at 4:30 because I had to go and do my training session. I had to go and do my cardio.
So how do you get someone who's not necessarily ever done that before and never plans to do that to actually understand why you're doing it?
Because I spoke to him, I communicated with him, I told him how important it was to me that I made this prep work. And I'm very lucky to the point where Scott was a very competitive person back in his day. He was an Olympic gymnast and, very, very high level competitor on the rings. So he got it, he got putting everything into it. So even though he never had to diet down to stupid levels, he did have to put. He understands
work ethic.
Absolutely. He understands the work ethic and he understands the commitment that needs to do it because he actually lived in a place called Lilleshall, which was a gymnastics home. Really, for the elite of the elite, they actually lived on campus and they just trained every day. That was their job. And he was employed to be a gymnast. He only got paid $3,000 a year. Now you think about that, £3,000 a year he got to do a job and he did it. He did it because he was passionate and he was committed. And then he had all that shit with his back and then that kind of destroyed his career. But obviously that's one thing that's.
But you're very lucky though.
I am extremely lucky.
Because people will be listening to this thinking, well, Vicky's quite lucky because she's got someone who understands that, who's been through it. Not necessarily with bodybuilding, but close parallel regarding the training and the diet and the regime and the sleep, etc. But if you've got someone like Kim, who doesn't have that background, how would you go about explaining to them this is what I need to do? And obviously they'll take it on board, but how would you get them to understand it?
I think it is more along the lines, in my personal point of view, it is more about communication. If you can openly speak, hand on heart, true honesty to your spouse, loved one, girlfriend, whatever. And I mean, let's face it, they married you for better or for worse, right?
Yeah. Lucky her.
I know, god damn it.
Ruse the day.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, these are the things. You put in a commitment, and marriage to me is very sacred. And I took my vows extremely seriously. It is for better for worse. It is for richer for poorer. And I'm speaking very honestly here. I mean, we went through some poor times. But we stuck it out and it was good. So I think open lines of communication is the number one thing that I would really, really say to your other half in order to get them on board with the support.
I agree.
And I would also think about communicating and preempting how difficult it might be, especially in the later stages of prep, whether it be making weight whether it may be lack of sleep, whether it may be not eating the same meals. We were just having a conversation outside, wasn't it? Whereas Kim actually brought it up, and she said one thing about being a wife is that you feed your husband. And that job's been taken away from me because I don't feed my husband anymore. You feed my husband because I do nutritional programming.
That's a really good point, isn't it? If that's your status quo,
Mm.
if that's what happens in your house, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but if that's what happens, and I can't cook for myself.
Yeah.
You see some of my pictures on Instagram, it's basically mince and rice, and that's basically as far as it goes.
Yeah.
And Kim enjoyed that. She enjoyed making some dinner for me now and again when I came back from work, and having to sit down and chatting over dinner.
Mm.
But now it's not necessarily being taken away because she can do that, and due to baby and other life circumstances that's changed. But it's still something that she misses.
Absolutely.
Because I quite like doing it myself because I know what to put in ground wise. I know when to do it. I know how to do it. You have a particular way, etc., etc. Because when you start getting focused, and a lot of people who reach sort of highest levels of sport and achievement have certain ways of doing things, and they don't want to almost change that just in case I can get a stomach upset.
Yeah.
Or you put too many grams and you're gonna get fat.
Yeah,
Or what exactly? We're all a bit control freaks, aren't we?
Absolutely.
So yeah, she made a really good point that that's one element I don't feel like I'm providing or doing for anymore, and then once that seed starts to sort of set in, I mean, she's discussing. We've had a chat about you and I talk a lot. And it's almost a good thing that you're 250 miles away most of the time. Because we're passionate about food and training and nutrition and help people and all that stuff related to what we do. And we can talk about it for days without taking a breath almost. Yeah. And I think that's where you need to start looking at yourself as well, and how you behave and how that affects your other half. Because I'm starting to learn that it is about communication, but also compromise. If they're going to put up with you even for 12, 16 weeks to prep, then what are you going to do for them once that show's done, or once you've hit weight or done that competition? If you've gone, okay, look, once this is over, I know it's going to be hard. No, I'm going to take you out for dinner, or we're going to have a weekend away, or something like that. Then it's a bit of give and take. It can't all be one way. And when you're not in prep and you're in off season, and your coach, good lass, programs you an off-plan meal, then utilize it. Don't think, oh well, I'll just have a little bit more mince then, or a few more vegetables. No, take your other half out, or go to cinema and have some popcorn and whatever, because they've supported you through you doing what you want to do. They will want to go out, they will potentially, or just go for a walk and get a pub lunch. Absolutely. And don't bloody macro count the pub lunch. Yeah. Because this is your time with your other half, not your prep time. I think that's really important.
I think another thing about that is that, just bringing it back to what you just said, me and you talk a lot. In a way, that's quite good for a marital relationship, because our stresses about things, we can talk about how.
Yeah, you lot.
Yeah. But our stress is about food. Our stress is about making weight. Our stress is about a lift. Our stress is about workload, getting up earlier to make sure that people check in on time, and all that kind of thing. It can be very stressful and quite boring for somebody who isn't into it and as passionate as we are. So when you do have the time to sit down and curl up on the sofa with your other half and watch a movie, and you start conversing, guess what? It's not actually about fitness, and it's not about powerlifting, and it's not about food. It's actually about, what? How was your day? Yeah. It's really nice about hearing about the things that you used to talk about before powerlifting and coaching took over your life.
Because those who listen to this, can put your hand up when someone says, oh, how was your day, or how was your training going? You're like, yes. Right, well, set 1 was this, set 2 was that, or that was RPE 8, that should have been really RPE 7, blah, blah. And you start going really into the minutiae of it all. Yeah. And you just see your half just going, oh, I want to ask that question.
Exactly right. Complete donut glaze over.
Was it a good session or not?
Yeah, exactly. Did you die?
Yeah. I think this is where it's actually quite helpful, because you can tell me all about it, and I like listening to it, and I can tell you all about my diet and how I feel and how my training's going, etc. And you'll be like, yeah, brilliant, blah, blah, blah. And it's almost like we have that set 20, 30 minutes, a couple of 2-3 times a week. Yeah. And then we've got it off our chest. So when other half go, oh, how did your lift go, Dave? Yeah, it went really well. Oh, good, that's good. And you're like, okay, I don't need to say anything because
Yeah.
I've already got it off my chest.
Yeah.
So, and then when you get to it to talk to the other half about, life, family, kids, business, or whatever,
Politics,
religion, then hopefully, I mean, there are occasions when you're in your dark days, or when you're prepping, or you're training a lot, or this, and then you want to hit your target. Kim and I again were talking about this earlier with you, weren't we? There's been occasions where she's talking to him, I'm just like, not because it's boring, but but it's just because you're tired.
Yeah.
And you just think, I need to get to sleep because I've got training tomorrow. And that's not fair on them.
No, absolutely not.
And this is where I think it comes back to communication. You then, I'm really sorry. I'm at a point where I'm a bit run down, this, that, and the other. But once it's over, love, I promise you, things will get back on track. And it's like all relationships, it's all up and down, isn't it? But it's understanding what's causing that little dip, so you can rectify that and get it back up to where it should be.
Absolutely. And it is also about building that particular time in as well. It's like myself and Scott, we have been meaning for the last kind of 4 years to have a date night. Even if it was just, it used to be once a week, then it went down to once every fortnight, then it was once a month, and then it never actually happened. Although I have to say, hand on heart, we have gone out every Tuesday for the last 2 weeks.
Oh yes.
Oh yes. And we went to the pictures.
Yeah.
Went pictures. How old am I?
Pictures. Well, there's an intermission as well.
Yeah, there was. There was a guy carrying popcorn and stuff like that. Yeah, we had to those Barney Rubble cars. Yeah, we had one of those to go. But no, we went to the cinema. We went to the cinema two Tuesdays on the trot, and then this week he's been away, so it's like, damn it. We can't have a date night. And then next week he's away, so it's like, damn it, can't have a date night. Our streak has come to an end.
Yes.
So, for 3 years, the streak hasn't been that great. And then 2 weeks on the trot, it's like, bloody hell, we've got a date night. And then, we had a chat and it was been nice. And then, but I think even if you weren't into lifting or into any kind of passionate sport, kids do that to you.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you've got no time because you can't sleep. No. You can't eat with a knife and fork anymore because you've got the baby here and you're eating one-handed and all your food goes cold, so you're eating cold food. Not that I really care about that because, I'm used to eating cold prep and stuff. But, welcome to parent. And then, exactly. And then you're tired, so what happens? You're shitty towards each other. And they're like, how was you walk in from work when wife has been with the kid all day and you're like, hi, darling, how was your day? Shut up, it's your turn with the kid. Okay, so you go for a shower.
And it was your relationship like that? Mine's just been swimmingly. Swimmingly good. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never had any of those discussions.
Exactly. But it's really important to have you time, to have adult time, because kids get in the way. Everything gets in the way. Let's face it. When was the last time you met up with a few mates and went out for a couple of bevies? I will take your silence for a really long time. And it's not because we don't like you anymore. We do like our friends very, very much. But life gets in the way. Yeah. Work gets busy. Got clients that are competing.
But what does it come down to, though? That magic P word, priorities.
Yeah, absolutely. Because,
again, Kim and I chatting about this, and how many times can you put your hand up and go, I've got my training program sorted. I've got my nutritional plan sorted. I know when I'm going to go to sleep. Okay, so when are you going to see the other half? When are you going to spend time? I mean, it's not a criticism because we all get trapped. We all get sucked into what we want to do and where we want to be, and
especially if you are really passionate about it. That is a massive goal.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, 99% of people listening to this, including us, don't get paid to do well on stage.
Nope.
So you have to take that into account. It's your passion, and it might not be your other half's passion. So find out what theirs is as well. That might be a good idea.
Definitely, yeah, exactly. Find out what their passion is,
and sort of help them there.
Oh my God! Unprofessional, Luke.
Get out!
How dare you let your phone go off like that? Unprofessional. Do you know what? I bet it was a sales call as well. I don't even know anybody in Luton.
Okay, we're a new client.
Obs.
But,
moving on.
Yeah, so it's a schedule in date night, family night, or whatever, because if you don't, it soon gets lost. And I think you and I can both say that does happen.
Of course,
Kim and I had date night on Wednesday, and I think that stopped a few months ago. just because I started working a bit more,
Yeah.
her work kicked off, etc. Baby was doing this, that, and the other. So it's,
But then what happens on a Saturday? On a Saturday, you turn your phone off because it's family day.
I don't turn it off, but
you step away from it.
It stays in the office more often than it should.
Absolutely.
Well, no. See, that's a perfect example.
Exactly.
It should stay in the office.
It should.
And not forget about it for 24 hours. But does it?
No.
Does yours?
No.
No.
But everybody is entitled to a day off. And that is, and the thing is like, we actually had this conversation ourselves, didn't we? I spoke to you about it because I was in turmoil. Obviously, turmoil. I do all of the nutritional plans for our powerlifters, for my eating disorder clients who are on board with recovery, for all of my bodybuilders who are all competing and everything like that. So I'm constantly available all the time. But I haven't had a family holiday in 2 years. And Luke had a holiday. And he made sure that all of the programs were set and everybody was sorted and nobody was contacting him and it was fabulous. And I spoke to him when he came back and I was like, dude, I need a holiday. But how am I going to make myself not available on holiday? And it's like he said to me, mate, you're just going to have to take it. You just have to take it. What is realistically classed as an emergency over a nutrition plan? But because I'm so passionate about my clients and so passionate about my job, and so passionate that I want to help people, that it's like I can't even take a holiday, and that's bad.
It's good for you, lot.
Yeah, it's great for you. Not so great for them.
But one of the things I said to you though was, if you don't have a break, you're eventually just going to go nuts. Yeah. I mean, you're on the borderline already, but obviously. But
yeah, I'm business partners with you.
Actually, why am I laughing? But everyone who works with you, who gets help from you, and who respects you and appreciates you, would go, Vic, take a holiday, mate. You work above and beyond anyway. And those who get a bit shitty with it, well, then you don't want to be working with them anyway. But that's what I said. Yeah. Now, you can disagree or not with that, but at the end of the day, we provide a service pretty much 52 weeks a year. There's going to be times where family emergencies or family holidays are going to come involved, and you're going to have to change around a few things. But again, it comes back down to that P word, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
I read, Coach Claire Riley, I don't mind plugging her, because she did a really good post on Instagram the other day about sometimes it's really important to put yourself first, because it's going off the relationship bit a little bit. Those in the fitness industry who do a lot of hours, who have a lot of clients, always put their clients first because they feel there's that need to do so. It's like you want to do well at your job because you want to be successful, and you want to be successful, you want to make sure your client's happy. And when your client's happy, they do well, and then when they do well, you be more successful. And it's that would spiral. And then you're like, well, but to be successful, then I need to put the time in. I need to make sure the client's happy. And then all of a sudden, your time just gets consumed with your work and your passion. And you're like, oh, well, when am I going to train? I've done that so many times. I've done the diary, and I'm going to train a day. Yeah. Guess what? And I have to split it up over like 10 minutes. Yeah, exactly. Something along those lines. So I think it's hard, but I think sometimes you just got to go, okay, I need a break. I need that family time, because that's your base, isn't it? If everything goes wrong, if for some reason you lose all your clients, or you go mute. and you can't convey anything anymore, who's going to be in the background to help you? Scott and your family. And the same thing with me, when I broke my back 2 years ago and I couldn't train anyone in the gym, Kim helped me out with financially, emotionally, and all that other stuff to get back on route. And it's your family that is your base, that's your core. And I think we could all, some of you out there probably doing great and fair play to you, but Vicky and I, as I alluded to, we can all step up a little bit on that front. And you can never spend enough time with your family, can you? No, absolutely. And everybody knows that I'm big on my hippie woo-woo shit, right? And I don't care if none of you like the hippie woo-woo shit. I've had a lot of feedback saying that you like the hippie woo-woo shit, and we like it because it is. Don't stand it, but yeah, exactly. But it's all positive thinking, and it is about finding that silver lining even in the darkest cloud. And realistically,
I put a hashtag thing out the other day on Instagram saying find your happy, and I want people to tag me in their find their happy posts. And you know, some of it was just like having a cuddle with the dog. Do you know what I mean? And like waking up, their son woke them up at 5:30 in the morning, so they took a silly selfie with lots of like glittery bits on them and stuff. And it's just like, but you know what? That is a find your happy. It could be something as simple as that, and it's the little things. It's because realistically, let's have a big think about it, right? When you're on your deathbed and you've got your family around you holding your hand, are you actually going to look back and say, do you know what? I wish I could have pulled 300 that day. Really?
No.
Exactly. Or are you going to look around at the people?
Maybe.
Or are you going to look around at the people who are watching you and supporting you on your journey to the afterlife, or whichever journey you're going to be taking, and you're going to say, actually, do you know what? I was really thankful that I had that ice cream on the beach with my kid when he was grown up. That night you're going to think about that. So, you know, it's about looking and prioritizing what's important to you, and family is damn well important because you only get one of them. You're never ever going to have two of them. So, you know, lifts will come and go, bodybuilding shows will come and go, your waistline will expand and contract and things like that. But, you know, you're never going to look back and say, I wish I had 32-inch biceps. You know, that was my goal. I wish I had 32-inch biceps. I have them now, so that's not my goal. But you're not going to look back and say that. You are going to do it. But another big tip that I would give away, this is from my own point of view as well, if you know, to help with the whole marital things with people who aren't into fitness, get somebody who you can talk to this shit about. Because I think without Luke, I would be putting a lot of negative emotion onto Scott for no reason. And it would cause arguments. It really, really would. So if I have something that really pisses me off one day, I just send Luke a message and I'm like, dude, have you got 2 minutes?
Yeah.
And he's like, mate, for you, I have 5. And then we end up talking for half an hour because I get all the shit out, you get all of your shit out, and then it's like, right, I'm going to carry on with my day. And then it's fine, you know, because it's just basically like you vomited all the shit out of your chest. And you put
it on this logo.
Exactly. You know, it's great. But yeah, you know, I mean, find somebody who can do that. Find somebody who does share that with you, but where you know exactly where your boundaries are with them, and that your other half is okay with them. You know, and that they understand it. You know, I mean, I was on my way down here and Scott said, right, well, have fun with Luke then. You know, it's like, okay. I mean, how long did we know each other before we flew away for a weekend? It was a bit like
we were at the airport, weren't we? We were just like, it's actually quite odd because this is like the second time we've met up yet. And we're flying to Dublin together.
Exactly, and having the whole weekend there about powerlifting. But it was about powerlifting.
It's actually really quite good.
Yeah, and it was all work related. And I mean, how many people go on work trips and they find it like, whatever. But we're 2 self-employed people under the, you know, running a business together, and it's just like, we're going on a business trip to Ireland for 3 days without our other halves. And when you break it down, it's like, shit, our other halves really support us.
Yeah, that's good.
It's amazing. You know, we're very lucky. So actually think about these little things as well.
Lucky. Let's be honest.
Well, obviously. Look at us. But really,
let's end it there.
Let's end it there.
Also, modesty is a really key attribute.
Exclusive Titan out. Rouge. Anyway, moving on. But no, really think about these things and think about what you do have as a couple. And if it isn't fitness related, think about why you got together in the first place. Because guaranteed, unless you are both amazing bodybuilders and you both train together and you both prep meals together and you're both Olympia winners together, things like that, guaranteed it wasn't fitness that brought you together.
Don't forget that.
Don't forget that bit. So that's something that you should hold on to. That's my final thought.
No, I completely agree.
I
completely agree.
And that is it then.
I'm going to let you have the final thought.
I will have the final thoughts. You do.
Right.
And I'm going to have the final thoughts while spinning. Whee! Any hoozle. If you're not actually watching this on YouTube, you're missing out. That is it then.
Not really.
No, not really. It's not that impressive of a chair. It
can tip you over.
That would be funny. Anyway, moving on. So that is it then for another episode of the exclusive Titan Tit-bits. Guys, if you have got any more questions whatsoever, we promise we will do a couple more live Q&As and live things like this every time we meet up, because we are hopefully, fingers crossed, going to be doing something once a month on a side-by-side basis. But if you do have any other questions for the spinny chair of truth, I have one at home, so I can always put mine on.
Spinning chair of truth? Knowledge.
Oh, spinning chair of knowledge. See, I'm getting dumber by the second I'm sitting on it.
You're exhausting senses. You're not me.
Exactly,
it's
right.
Draining you.
My ass isn't big enough. I need a bigger ass.
Well, squat more.
Yeah. Ooh. Can I just point out that I squatted like a mofo today?
Yeah.
And they were good squats.
Yeah, it wasn't bad for a 40-kilo 15-year-old.
He's a shit.
Actually, we're editing this out. This is getting a bit dribble like now. But,
right, anyway. Lots of love. Share the podcast. Give it a thumbs up. The tiny and the pinky. He's got us cutting his bicep now. I'm impressed.
You can see
Right.
Guess it's getting ridiculous. Right, bye-bye.
Bye.